Join me as we learn Chitas together for Monday, Parshas Vayeitzei, the second Torah reading of Parshas Vayeitzei, chapter 29, verse 1. Yesterday we learned in Parshas Vayeitzei how Yaakov was heading to Haran to his uncle Lavan, and as he took a little nap on Har Moriah, Mount Moriah, and Hashem came to him and promised him and guaranteed him that he will be safe and protect him as he goes to his uncle Lavan in Haran. Chapter 29, verse 1. Vayeitzei Yaakov Raglov, and Yaakov was light on foot. Vayelech Arza b'nei Kedem, and he set out for the land of the people of the east. Rashi, Vayeitzei Yaakov Raglov. Why does he use a terminology that Yaakov lifted his foot? Once he was told the good news that now God promised him and guaranteed that he will be protected. His heart picked his feet up, meaning he was excited and delighted by it. And it became easy for him to go. This is the way the Medrash explains it. Verse 2. Vayar, and he saw. And he looked. V'hinei be'er basada, and there was a well in the field. V'hinei sham shleisha edrei tzein reiftim aleh. And beside it there were 3 flocks of sheep that were lying on the side of the well. Because it was from that well that the flocks would drink. They would have the water from. However, there was a boulder covering the opening of the well, and it was huge. Rashi, what does it mean, Vayashku hadorim? Why does it use future tense? So Rashi explains as follows. Mashkim aroyim es hadorim, the shepherds would give to drink their flock. V'amikra diber b'loshin ktsara. The verse says it in a shorthand, doesn't say who's the one that gives the flock to drink, but that's what it means when it alludes to they would drink from the well. Verse 3. V'nesvu shama kol hadorim. Every day when all the flock were gathered there, and then the shepherds would come and they would roll the boulder off the opening of the well. And they would water the flock. And then they would replace the boulder over the opening of the well. Rashi v'nesvu. Why does, again, using the terminology of the future tense? Regilim hoyulis asef. It was customary. They would usually gather there together whenever they had to give their flock water to drink. Because it was such a great boulder and they needed everybody there together to roll it off. V'galalu, this is also used in the future tense. V'goylalim, and they would roll it off. Targumai, and as the Unkelus explains it, umeganderim, to roll off the boulder. Many present tense terminologies can also be used in the future tense. Because when we talk about something which is in the present tense, it continues from the past to the present and ultimately to the future. The Heishivu, this as well was written in future tense, like the Targum says, umesivin, and they would return. Verse number 4. Vayomer lehem Yaakov, and Yaakov said to them, he asked them, Achai, me'ayin atem, my brothers, from where are you? Vayomer, when they replied, Mechoran anochnu, we are from Choran. Verse 5. Vayomer lehem, so Yaakov says to them, he asks them, Hayedatem es Lavan ben Nachor, do you know Lavan, the grandson of Nachor? Vayomer, when they said, Yadanu, yes, we know him. Vayomer lehem, so he asked them, Hashalim loy, is he well? Is peace for him? And he said, yeah, he's well. And here is his daughter Rachel approaching with the flock. The word ba'im atzayin, many times we've mentioned earlier that the word ba'a, depending on where the vowel is, which will make the word tell you if it's future or past. And over here, the ba'a, the kamatz, hatam ba'alef, the kamatz is on the aleph. V'targumai, and the Targum explains, B'asya, she is coming now. V'rachel ba'im atzoyin, she is coming with the sheep. Hatam l'mayla b'beis, However, if you want to say somebody already arrived, then the nekuda, the vowel would then be on the base. V'targumei osas, that she already came. Harishain, the first one with the one on the base, loshin oisa, is present, and the asheni, the one when it's on the aleph, loshin osisa, is when it already came. Verse 7. Vayomer, and he says to them, Hein oida yom gadol, the day is still broad daylight. Lo eisei asaf hamikna, it's not yet time to round up the livestock. Hashku hatzoin, why don't you give your flock water to drink? Ulachura'u, and go off and pasture them. Verse 7, Rashi, Hein oida yom. Rashi explains, what's going on? Why is Yaakov questioning the shepherds of what's happening here? He saw that they were just relaxing. He thought, it looks like they want to just gather the flock and not shepherd them for the day. So he told them two complaints. Number one, it's still a long day. If you are people that work full time, if you're getting paid by the day, you still haven't yet finished the day. There's no reason that you're cutting work early. And number two, and if you're not workers, but these are your own animals, it's not yet time to gather the flock. You guys could still go out and shepherd your flock and give them to pasture. So they responded. They answered him, we cannot. Why can't we go and shepherd the flock? We need first all the flock have to be rounded up. And then we can all roll off the boulder of Me'alpia Be'er from the opening of the well, and then we can water the animals and give them what to drink. Rashi, Loi Nuchal, in verse 8, their answer to Yaakov, why they weren't giving what was going on, they said, we're not able to give the Lahashkes Lafisha Evan Gedela, because this is a large boulder that's sitting on top of the well, we are not able to give them water. Because of that, we're waiting around. So it's not like we don't want to take our sheep out to pasture. It's just that we have to give them first water, and we're not able to do it on our own. Verse 10. And when Yaakov saw Rachel, the daughter of Lavan, of his mother's brother, and the flock of Lavan, his mother's brother, Vayigash Yaakov, and Yaakov steps forward, and he effortlessly rolled the boulder off Me'alpia Be'er from the opening of the well, and he watered the flock of Lavan, his mother's brother. Rashi, Vayigash Yaakov Vayogel. The previous Rashi, V'galolu, which means Maturgam, Lefishu Lashon Azad, again using the terminology, and they will, of a future tense, saying that when they get together, they can roll off the stone. Verse 10, Vayigash Yaakov Vayogel. What does it say over here, Vayogel? It doesn't say Vayigolel as in the previous times, the Vigolalu, but it says it in one gimel, meaning that he revealed, saying, it's like a person taking off the lid or the cap off a bottle, out of a jug. To tell you that Yaakov did it with ease. It wasn't a strenuous effort that he needed to roll off the boulder. He did it like somebody just taking the lid off a bottle or out of a jug. He was able to take off that lid that was there. He was able to take off the boulder easily. Verse 11. Vayishak Yaakov l'Rachel, and Yaakov kissed Rachel. Vayisas koiloi vayefk, and he wept aloud. Vayefk. Why did he cry? What was he weeping about? Shouldn't he be excited to meet his cousin? So Rashi explains, verse 11, because he saw with divine intuition that he's not going to be buried together with her in the cave of the patriarchs. That's one reason. Another reason why he was crying, he came empty-handed. Omar, he said, Yaakov said to himself, Eliezer, Eved Aviabba, Eliezer, my servant of my father's father, of my grandfather, he came when he came to approach to marry his wife, and he was looking for a wife for Yitzchak. He had with him plenty of gifts, nizamim, utsmidim, umigdanis. He had nose rings, he had bracelets, he had gifts. Vani ein biyadi klum. I don't have anything. Now, why didn't Yaakov have anything? So Rashi tells us, because Eliphaz, the son of Esav, was chasing Yaakov because his father told him, go get that Yaakov and you get rid of him. Lahargeit, kill him. And Eliphaz reached him. But because Eliphaz grew up in the arms of Yitzchak, in the family of Yitzchak, therefore it helped that he wasn't yet so anxious and angry to kill Yaakov. Moshach Yodav, he pulled back and didn't kill Yaakov. Omar loy, but Eliphaz was stuck with a conundrum. What does he do here? He asked Yaakov, Ma esa, what am I to do? Litzivu shalaba. What am I going to tell my father? My father told me I got to kill you. Over here, I don't want to kill you. So what do? Amar le Yaakov. Yaakov told him, Toil mashabiyadi, take everything I have. And because you're going to take everything I have, I'll have zero left with me. And a poor person as if he's dead. So you can tell your father that now I'm dead. And this way you have fulfilled your obligation as well. Verse 12. Vayagid Yaakov l'Rachel. And Yaakov told Rachel, Ki achi aviyahu, that he is the brother, that he that they were both relatives, that her father is his mother's brother. V'chi ben Rivkahu, and he's the son of Rivka. V'atoretz v'tagid lavia, and she ran and she told her father. What does it mean, achi aviyahu? If you literally translate it, it means her father's brother. How does that work out? Her mother was her father's brother. So koriv lavia, it means relative of her father. Like saying we are brothers, like we found before previously. Avram told Lot, even though they were cousins, he said we are brothers. The terminology brothers means relatives. Vatagid lavia. Why then he continues with Medrash. The Medrash says, Im l'rabos bos of the good, that Yaakov is sending a message here. Im l'ramos uva. If he wants to cheat me, if Lavan wants to cheat me, then he says, listen here. Then Gamani Achiv, then I'm also his brother. Biramos, I'm also able to trick him, because he was able to trick Esav in the past. But if he's a befitting person, Gamani ben Rivka, I'm also the son of Rivka, his sister, who is the most fitting one, the proper one, the great one. Vatagid Lavia. Why was she only telling her father? What happened to her mother? Didn't we generally say last time Rivka ran to her mother to tell her about the Eliezer? Why is she going to tell her father? Her mother died. There was nobody else to say besides her father. The Torah now continues, verse 13. And when Lavan heard the news, Shema Yaakov, that he heard that Yaakov ben Achoisei, the son of his sister, is here. Vayaretz likrosei, he ran to greet him. Vayichabeklo, he hugged him. Vayinashklo, and he kissed him. Vayiviyeu al beisei, and brought him into his home. Vayisaper leLavan es kol advarim me'ela. And Yaakov told Lavan all the wonderful events that happened. Rashi, Vayaretz likrosei, he ran towards him. Why all of a sudden was he running towards Yaakov? Kisavur, he thought, Mamin, who told him that he's carrying money. Sharei, because he made a calculation. He said as follows: when the servant of his family came to greet my sister Rivka, Balakan, when he came here, he had 10 camels laden with things. Over here, for sure, he has money he's bringing with him. So he hugged him. Why did he hug him? He saw he had nothing with him. Omar, Lavan said to himself, maybe he's carrying these gold and he's hiding it in his pockets. And then he kissed him. He saw that in his pockets he had nothing. Didn't see the camels. Amar Shema Margolius Havi. Maybe he brought these gemstones and he's hiding it veheim befiv, and they're hiding in his mouth. And he said, this way, by hugging him and kissing him, I'll be able to feel what he has. When Yaakov realized that the whole purpose of why Lavan came out to greet him was only because he wanted to check if he had money, so therefore he told him, I didn't really want to come here. I got into a little conflict with my brother Esav. Therefore, I had to run here because my brother wanted to kill me. And not only that, my brother sent his son to kill me, so I had to give him all the money I had. And therefore, I came here with nothing. Verse 14. Lavan said to him, Ach atzmi ubesariyata, you are truly my own flesh and blood. Vayeshav imay, and he stayed with him chodesh yamim, a month of time. Ach atzmi ubesari, Rashi 14, you are my flesh and blood, meaning, now that you're my relative, now I know that you don't have anything with you. I can't take you in because of your money, because I value what you have. The only reason why I'll bring you into the house, into the home, you're coming empty-handed. The only reason why I'm going to let you in my home, and let me play korver because you're related. So I'll take care of you for a short time, only for a month. And that's what he did. This hospitality that Lavan gave to his nephew, don't think that Lavan did it for nothing in exchange. He was already being a shepherd for his flock, and that's why you see after being there 30 days, as we're going to see, that Yaakov tells him, why should I work for free? Let me do something and earn something because of it. As we see in verse 15. Lavan said to Yaakov, just because you are a close relative of mine, doesn't mean you have to work for me for free. Hagidali, tell me, what do you want to get paid? Rashi 15. Achi ata. Meaning in a question. Loshin tema. V'chi b'shvil she'achi ata. Just because you're a relative of mine. Tavdeni chinam, you should work for free. Va'avadetani in the future, meaning kumei v'savdeni, you will work for me. V'chein kol tevish loshin avar. So too, any word that you'll find which is in past tense, and you have to add a vav in the beginning of it. It's called a vav ahipuch. That by putting a vav in front of the word, I change it from past tense to future tense. Torah continues, verse 16. Lavan shtei banis, and Lavan had two daughters. Shema Gedolah, the older daughter, was Leah. Shema Ktana, and the younger daughter's name was Rachel. Verse 17. Ve'enei Leah rakos, and the eyes of Leah were tender. V'Rachel hoisa yefas toyar v'feimara. And while Rachel was a beautiful features and complexion. Rashi, the Eine Leah Rakis, why were her eyes tender, soft, and red from crying? Shahayisa Svura, because she thought, Lalis begeiroli shal Esav, that she was going to have to marry Esav. Ubaychen, she would always be crying. Everybody would say, there were two boys for Rivka, Lavan, and Lavan had two daughters, Hagdela, the older one, Legadol. That means Leah, who was the older daughter, was going to marry the older boy, who was Esav. V'Aktana, the younger daughter, which was Rachel, Leah Katan, was going to marry the younger boy, who was going to be Yaakov. And therefore Leah was crying because she did not want to marry Esav. This is how the Talmud explains it in the tractate Baba Basra. Toyar, what does it mean, a beautiful complexion? The word Toyar, hutsuras aparsuf, that's the complexion of the individual. Lashoin, Yisareu Baseret, as it says in Isaiah, that he would describe it, or he would show the complexion of it. Knupish Bilaz. Mara, Toyar aparsuf is the features. And as it says, that the features of the actual item is how they would shape it. Mara, Huziv, cluster, that's the complexion, the beauty of a person's face, of how it would be showing. This concludes the Torah reading for the second Torah reading of Parshas Vayeitzei.